I was also thinking about something else that's interesting.
What's that?
I was thinking that it was kind of a revelation actually today. Because I was like, well, I don't think you're going to have to debate us much longer. Or even talk to us, or we might just cease to exist altogether. Because, I mean, it's got to be in the next 10 or 20 years that anyone can afford, maybe an expensive plane ticket price to go to space. So you got to think that would cut a
Maybe.
lot of flat Earth. I mean, I would definitely eat crow and never and think that I was totally misled and fooled this whole time. That I passionately believed that the Earth is not a spinning ball. Definitely, because if I could just buy a ticket, it would be over for me. You know,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possibly.
when do you give that by? The
Oh,
time
I have no idea. I mean, it
the
actually
time that
sounds like it actually just kind of sounds like a dumb idea and not super safe. So,
well, they're
I
starting
don't
the industry now, right? It's
Yeah, I
starting
know,
now.
but I mean, we had supersonic flights. We had Concorde, but it did not last very long because people didn't actually want to tolerate it. And it just, I mean, there were some technological things that Concorde was plagued by. The space thing, I don't know. It's hard to see that it becomes the kind of thing that somebody who is merely a doctor could start to afford anytime soon. So
Well, I
I
mean,
really
that's
have no idea.
for my friends and I. That's probably definitely the ultimate thing that we would want to do. I think for most of my friends and family too.
I don't know how bad I would want to do it. It does sound pretty
No,
awesome.
right? I mean, can you think of many things much better?
I don't know.
I can't. I went skydiving a couple times,
Oh, I've
and
never
I can
done
tell
that.
you, I would much rather go to space than go skydiving. It's not even close, you know.
Yeah. So
So,
why would you even do it though if you don't believe them?
well, because I want to be proven wrong or proven right.
Oh, huh, okay.
That's it, man. I just want to put this to bed already.
Sounds
And
good.
I'm the kind of person who needs to go and actually physically, for something like this, for such a humongous claim like where you live, like I don't have to go to India or Australia to know it exists, you know? But for something this massive, I mean, man, I got to see it for myself. I mean, this is an extraordinary claim, These speeds and these measurements and the size and you know, just all the different motions and just violence and the vacuum, everything. Like those are some humongous claims. I mean, for a club of about maybe 500 to 1,000 people out of 7 billion to have ever been there, you know, that's, if you were to tell me that that there's only been a thousand people skydiving, I probably wouldn't believe it till I actually went. That if it was, if you told me that skydiving was a possible thing that could happen, I'm not sure I would believe it till I went. So I went and did that. I'm not saying I didn't believe it, but I mean, when do you think that? How much longer? It's been like I think 60 years. I think 1958 or 59 was the first time humans went to space.
How long?
Do you believe that? Do you believe
I don't
that
have
they're
an answer
trying
as to when it's going to
to
start
have
become
commercial
popular commercially. I have
or
no
like
answer. I don't know.
possible? I'm saying just possible
Well, it's already
commercially.
possible. I mean, they sent Blue Origin and Tesla sent
But there was
people up
nowhere to
there.
buy the tickets from.
Well, they selected who they wanted to go. Dude
Yeah, so that's
Perfect
not really
went.
commercial, right?
I mean, like, didn't Dude Perfect go? I mean, he filmed the whole thing.
But I can't go. I have the money.
Right. I guess they didn't want it to be a lottery. They wanted to pick certain people. Picking what's his name? Captain Kirk. What's his real name? I can't remember.
Oh, William Shatner.
Yeah, that was just kind of a gimmick, but it's also kind of cute, I guess, at the same time. But anyways, so what do you want to talk about? Because I don't. The idea of going into space commercially one day is just, I don't know, and it's kind of boring.
But you have to believe that if it's a real thing, then it's going to happen sooner or later, right?
I mean, maybe not
Why
everything's
wouldn't it
been
though? If there's
commercialized.
such a demand, I mean, such a demand,
Oh,
Almost
there's
everyone I've ever talked to, you don't think there's a demand to go on a touristic flight to space?
people thinking it would be really cool isn't the same thing as people actually willing to do it.
I mean, people are willing to do just about anything these days, you know?
Well, sometimes it seems like it.
It does, because almost every single person I've ever talked to in my life, and that's, thousands of people, they'd all love to go. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you want to talk about?
So I just wanted to get kind of a feel for when you think, like, what would be your cutoff to where you would start to question anything like that?
I
Like, what year you think? Like, where anyone could just buy a ticket?
I have no idea, but whether or not we commercially send people up into space isn't going to have any strong bearing on what shape I think the planet is, because you don't need to go to space to demonstrate what the shape of Earth is. It's not even hard to do.
Well, I guess I'm different because for me, I have to see something for myself. Something that big of a claim.
Yeah,
Like seeing the
you
Earth
can
as a
do
ball
the
from space. I'd have
you
to.
can do the tests yourself. They're really not hard to do.
Yeah, but you're not really experiencing it.
Yeah, you are.
I don't think so.
It's super easy to do actually. Like where I live, there are mountains, right? And the mountains are to the east of me. So that means when the sun sets to the west, sorry, I'm peeling this sticker off. So this doesn't
Oh, that's
happen all
okay.
the time because the air is really bad where I live. I live in California as well. But what you can see is sometimes when the sun sets, the mountains, there's a shadow on the mountains, right?
Hmm.
But the thing is, the shadow starts at the bottom of the mountains and then goes to the top. That's physically impossible if the mountains are here and the sun is always up and then just going this way. But if there's a curvature to the earth and the mountains are over here and the sun goes below the curvature of the earth, which is what a sunset is, then it will cast that shadow, but it'll cast the shadow on the bottom part of the mountain first and then move towards the top. I mean, there's just nothing on a, like with a flat earth model that can explain how that's even possible. Although you can experimentally prove gravity by doing like a Cavendish experiment, or by testing the acceleration of gravity across different like altitudes on our planet, and you can find that it's totally consistent. And the fact that there's absolutely no other offered hypothesis that even like remotely adequately explains anything. But no, the shape of the Earth, whether or not gravity exists, isn't even important to figuring out what the shape of the Earth is. I mean, Eratosthenes calculated the circumference of Earth with pretty good accuracy 2,000 years before the modern scientific, well, it's not really the modern scientific idea anymore because of general relativity, but before the first modern description of gravity.
I mean, the Earth could be round or circular, definitely, but I don't think that proves that it's a sphere, especially not spinning. I'd have to kind of see that for myself, I feel like, because it's just such an extraordinary claim that, I mean, I don't think our senses would ever lead us just if we were born on some desert island. You'd never come up with this stuff. You'd never come up
Uh,
with 66,600 miles an hour moving through the solar system. I mean, you'd never come up with spinning 1,000 miles around an axis. You know,
Well, yeah,
you'd
you'd
never come
obviously
up with.
never just come up with it. Those numbers
Yeah,
are those values were calculated based off of observations.
Or were they just told to you by people who you think are smarter than you?
You can assume that they're just told to you, which in the spirit of science, we assume skepticism, and so scientific claims are repeated and validated by other groups, and that's been done so many times.
I mean, these are quite serious claims here. I mean, flying through infinite space at 66,000 miles an hour, the whole solar system moving at 500,000 miles an hour around the center of the Milky Way. I mean, these are humongous claims, man. 'Cause I
Sure.
don't feel anything. I don't see
Well,
any
of course you
curve.
don't, but we talked about that last time.
I don't see any curve. I never have. I just want to see it once,
Yeah, you have. You've seen the sunset.
I've seen the sun go away from me out of my visual perspective range. I've seen
That's
it
not what
take
the
its
sun
light
does when it
away.
sets.
That's what it looks like to me. It looks like it's just taking its light away.
No, it
And it's
doesn't.
getting
That's not.
smaller
That
on
is
down the
not what it
range.
looks like to you.
That's totally what it looks like to me. I don't
No,
feel like
it's
I'm back
not.
flipping over at 1,000
Something.
miles an hour. I don't feel like I'm
Something.
flipping over backwards.
Okay. Does the sun go like this until it gets smaller and smaller and you cannot see it anymore, or does it do this?
That's exactly what it looks like. That's exactly what it would look like when it's going out of your range of perception, out of your range of vision, your field of vision.
You're mad. Okay.
No, because streetlights do the same thing, bro,
No, they
in the
don't.
distance. Sure they do. If
No,
you're looking down a
streetlights
road,
actually get smaller and then you
yeah,
can't
but then they
see
go
them
away. That's
anymore.
exactly what the sun does.
The sun does this. This is not tell me when this gets smaller.
But if you had a big enough horizon, you could do that going that way and it would still go down.
What does that
It
mean?
would still go down because
What
you
does
just
that
can't
mean?
see it anymore through the atmosphere.
But that's not what happens. The sun doesn't
That's
do
what it looks like
this
to me.
until it gets so small that you can't see it. It does this.
That's because the horizon is so big.
That the size of the horizon is irrelevant. If the sun is above the ground at all times, then as it retreats away from you, it's just going to get smaller until it becomes like if I took a okay.
I think it's an optical illusion, man. That's what I think. I think you
No, you don't think
because
that.
really we're just we're spinning backwards actually. The sun's not even supposed to be moving, really. We're supposed to be spinning backwards on the ball, really.
There's no such
No.
thing as spinning backwards. What does that mean?
We're tilting away from it.
Uh, sh- okay, I see what you mean there. Yeah.
Yeah, we're
But as
tilting
we do
away from
that,
it.
there's a curvature to the Earth. So eventually you spin so much that, oh, look, I'm going below
No,
the
I'm saying that's
horizon.
what science is saying. I'm not saying we're actually doing that. I'm saying that's what science is saying. Mainstream
You can
science.
go outside and see it yourself. You live by the ocean.
I see it getting so far away that you just can't see it anymore.
No, that's not what you see.
I've seen it many times. Yeah.
No, you haven't. You've never
Of
seen
course I
that.
have.
You
Yeah.
see
You can
this
even see
happening.
videos of that.
No, there are no videos of that.
Oh, yes, there are.
You see
Oh,
this
yes, there are.
happening.
There's plenty of videos of the sun just moving away down a down range.
No,
Plenty
there
of them
aren't. There are
moving
none.
down range. Yeah, there are. There are. Anyone can go look that up right now. It's easy.
The sun
There's
does
many videos showing
this.
the sun going down range and out of sight. Many.
Have you seen the sun do this?
I've seen it appear to do that.
But it does. How can it appear to do that
It
and
doesn't
not be
always
doing that?
do that
Yes, it
because it's an
does.
optical
What are
illusion.
you talking
It's
about?
an optical illusion.
It's it's
I've
not.
seen many times where the sun goes down range and out of sight.
No, you haven't. So
Okay, you can look it up.
since you
Anyone
live
can look
by
it up.
the okay, so let's talk about the horizon. So
Okay.
if Earth were flat, then what we would have is the surface just extends forever. And because you live on the ocean, that's like the flattest kind of surface we can have. And it goes on for tens of thousands of miles, or thousands of miles at least. So if that were the case, and you and I both know that the atmosphere slowly makes things fuzzier the more atmosphere you're looking through,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it then that, because I've been to the ocean too, why is it then that the horizon the horizon actually wouldn't be visible. It would slowly obscure, like when there's fog. You can't say, "Oh, right there is the point where I can't see any farther." It's so gradual that there is no point. So the problem is at the ocean, the horizon is this extremely sharp line, which only makes sense if what's happening is this. It's curved and we're looking at it
You were
this
talking
way.
about, but here's the thing: it looks totally different if it's going behind the ocean or if you're on land. It's totally different, you
Yeah, so we
know.
should pick the ocean because that's a flat surface.
But that goes so far that it just goes out of range anyway.
But it doesn't go out of
Because it does,
range.
it's so
It
much bigger
does this.
than any other land that you would see it going by.
It
Because
does
it goes,
this. Here's another
I
really
know it looks like
here's
it's doing
another
that.
really awkward thing. You do know that the sun sets later if you're on a tall building and somebody else is on the ground, the person in the tall building will see the sunset after the other person.
Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense if we have a curve because the person in the tall building can see over more of the curve, but it makes zero sense if the earth is flat.
Well, I can tell you, before we move on to something else, that there are videos, many of them. You can say no, but right after we're done, you can just look them up and pull them up and show people that there's plenty of videos that show the sun going out of your field of vision downrange and taking all its light with it. There's plenty of them. There just are. I mean,
And there are plenty of videos showing it do just this.
I know, but I'm just saying, what do you attribute that to
The
when it's
curvature of the
literally
earth.
just going down a range? You know, it
Nothing
looks
that goes
bizarre. It's
down
totally
range
different.
disappears without its size changing. That's literally
No,
never
that's just the
happened.
natural physics of going down range. It's going to appear that your size is
No,
getting
it's not.
smaller. It looks like
But
size is getting smaller. You know,
yeah, so this is not size getting smaller. We already went over that. This is something being obscured by something else. Look, it's still there. You want to play peekaboo? Peekaboo.
I think it could easily be an optical illusion. Um, Also, did you know that in Galileo's time, his first prediction of the sun of the si- of the distance of the sun, it was actually 3 million miles away for a long time until the early
Sure,
1900s, and then it
they
became
I
93 million miles away. I'm just
yeah,
wanting to let
maybe
you know.
that's true, but
It is true. Yeah,
Galileo lived between the 16th and 17th centuries. Their technology sucked.
I know, but I'm just saying, measurements can be wrong. You know.
Yeah, but the ones we have now aren't. We can bounce
Okay, so
radio
what
waves.
is he saying? What else is he saying? That's what do we? Because you're bringing up
People
Aristosthenes, and I'm just like, dude, you want to go up based on this shit? Okay, then you have to kind of go with that too. That he was totally wrong with his calculations of the distance of the sun.
his calculations are much more simple to make, but also
It's 90 million miles
we can
off.
do those calculations today and see that he wasn't far
If we
off.
were in 1858, you'd be calling me an idiot for saying the sun was 93 million miles away because everyone agreed it was 3 million miles away. Okay,
I don't
so
know where you get the idea that everybody agreed on it.
and
Um,
everyone who was in the mainstream science community, in the globe Earth, in
I
the
would love to see
heliocentric science
some
community.
papers or something that actually
Oh,
say
there's
that.
tons. Yeah,
But
he said it was 3 to 5 million miles away. It's 90 million miles off. All of a sudden,
sure.
1940. Oh, it's 93 million miles away, actually.
So this doesn't make any sense. Science proved that something we claimed in the past was wrong before, therefore science is wrong. How is proving something wrong
I'm
prove
saying it was
that the
settled
proof
science
was wrong?
for the whole community. It was settled for a long time, about 400 years. It was settled, maybe almost 500 years.
But your argument rests upon the idea that it has now scientifically been proven to be more accurate, therefore so
How do you know they're being accurate
your
now? Is my
argument is
point.
that the
That's my
sun
point.
is 93 million miles away.
No, my
You don't
argument is that they keep changing shit.
When was the last
That's
time
my
they
argument.
changed it?
In the 40s, when they said it's now 93 million miles away.
Okay, so it we used to have a number that was maybe 3 million and I don't know if I really don't
Why
think that
was he
that's
so wrong, though?
if you're trying to do science in the 1600s, complex observations like that, you're going to make mistakes. It's not that
Okay, so
hard
maybe
to.
we're making mistakes now too.
It could be. What criticisms do you have of the methodologies that scientists used to calculate the distance that the sun is from Earth?
The sun looks like it's the exact same size as the moon.
That is not scientific.
It's the exact same size. It fits over the moon, fits over the sun perfectly every eclipse.
It doesn't. There are annular solar eclipses. There's actually going to be one next month that you can see from the United States. So that's wrong. But also, I asked you, you said their measurements were wrong. The science was wrong. They changed it. Okay, so we have these numbers today.
Whose side would you have been on back then? Would you have been on
What
Galileo's
part of
side
the
or
methodology
no?
that they employed, what part of the science do you think is incorrect? Because when you say sun and moon look
That it's
similar, that's not
bullshit.
scientific,
It's
like
pure
at all.
bullshit, man. It's pure bullshit. They're literally just pulling numbers out of their ass, dude.
Okay, your arguments are pure bullshit, and you pulled them out of your ass.
No, because
There. See
they
how easy
literally
this
were
is to
90
do?
million miles off. They're the ones who were claiming it. I was never claiming what it was. I said it looks
So
close
you
and
don't even
small,
have an answer. So you just pull stuff out of your ass. See how
just
easy
like
this
they
is to
do.
do?
Just
Come
like
up with
they
some
do.
actual science. Criticize the data based on like logic and data and
Why was everything settled that
observations
it
and
was 90,
evidence.
that it was 3 million miles away for
Yeah,
400
we
years?
were wrong about a lot of things in the
Okay, so we were
1600s.
wrong,
Yeah, in the 1600s, today we have
but
radio
we're not wrong
telescopes. We can
today.
bounce radio waves
No,
off
we're
of the
totally
sun
right
and
today.
time how long it takes for them to come back. Like your argument is nuh-uh. That's your argument.
No, I just don't believe that if someone is so wrong for so long and they try to convince you of something for so long, they can't just all of a sudden be like, "Hey, actually, it's 93 million miles." Like, what's the discrepancy between the 3 and the 93? What was so wrong about it? I can't find it. I
I
can't
don't
figure it
know how
out.
they calculated it in the 1600s. I also don't know if you're even correct
But
about
you're
that. You
quoting
may just be
Aristophanes. You're
pulling
bringing
this
up
out of your ass. I
Aristophanes.
don't know. But
No, you're
we
bringing
know
up
how it's
Aristophanes.
so
That's 2,000 years ago.
Eratosthenes didn't calculate how far away the sun is. So
But
again,
he
here's
figured
the
out
deal.
something
You're
incredible.
saying the current scientific answer is wrong, so I need to hear your what data do you have that
They're
says
saying
that
they
this
were
data
wrong,
is
dude. What do you
wrong?
mean? They're the ones saying they were wrong. In
No. The
1940,
data
they
we
came
have
out and said we were
today,
off by 90 million miles.
the the
That's all I'm
da-
saying to you.
yeah, and like around that same time they
That's the people
probably
you
well,
defend. You defend them.
I don't defend people from the 1600s when they get the
You
science
just brought
wrong.
up Aristophanes from
So
2,000 years
again, I said
ago.
I don't defend them when they're wrong. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
You have a problem with the current scientific uh, answer, whatever, for how far away the sun is. What is your criticism of the data they collected? What is the alternative data? What are the other observations, the different science that you used to come up to be able to say that their number is wrong? Because if you're just going to say it's bullshit, then your argument is nuh-uh, and
They're
that's
not
not an
saying why their
argument.
number was so wrong. I'm trying to figure that out. Okay?
In the
That's what I'm trying to
1600s,
figure out.
because they had bad technology, and also I don't know what their calculation was, and so I don't know if you're even correct in this
I
assumption you're
am correct. You
making.
can go look it up. It takes 2 seconds.
So what's your criticism with the current way the distance to the sun is calculated?
Because it's the same way as it was.
You just said.
It's just
So
bullshit.
I asked you why you think it's wrong, and you said because it's wrong. That's not an
No, I'm
argument.
saying they're not
It's not a
explaining
good
why they were
argument.
so off. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They're not explaining. They're just saying, "Oh, peekaboo, guess what? We were 90 million miles off. They came out in the 40s and
Okay,
said that."
why were they wrong in the past? Since you won't answer
I
the
don't
question
know. I'm
about the
trying to figure
present,
that out.
why were they
They're
wrong
not. They're
about the
not
past?
providing an answer for that.
But you don't have an answer. You have zero answer
I'm
for
not the one
anything.
making the claim.
Then what's your problem with the claim?
Because I can't go and see for myself. I can't even go to space. All these are just claims.
So
I can't even go
you're
anywhere.
incapable
Show
of
me something
providing
physical.
anybody an answer, and that's your reason why you think other answers are incorrect? That makes no sense.
It totally does because I'm not the one that's claiming these crazy ass things that you can fit a million Earths inside the sun, and that the sun is 93 million miles away, when it looks like it's the exact same size as the moon to me.
It doesn't look like that because there are annular solar eclipses. There's going to
They're
be one this
around the
year.
same size.
You said
You would
exactly,
never
now
think
you're saying
anything else.
around the same size.
Okay, they're around the same size, and that's what you would come up with too
So
if you
what?
didn't have a bunch of people telling you otherwise. If you were just born on
That
a
is
desert
something
island,
we can see
you
with
would
the
think the
naked
sun and the
eye.
moon
Nobody
are about
came
the
up
same
with
size. They
that.
fluctuate a little bit.
Yeah, and why is that?
That's just the nature of them.
That's not an explanation.
It is. That's the nature of them. They fluctuate a little bit, but they do fit on top of each other
Why
pretty
do they
damn well
fluctuate?
every year, right?
Why do they fluctuate?
Because that's their nature, dude. No one knows
That's
the
that's
answer for
not
sure.
an that's
No
not an
one knows the
argument.
answer for
You've produced
sure.
no evidence. You're just
No,
saying
no one
blank
knows
is blank.
because those people are obviously so wrong about certain
I
things
didn't ask you
that
about
they've
other
claimed in the
people. I
past.
asked you. You're the one saying they're the exact same size except they're not the exact same size. Why is that?
They
Because it's their
fluctuate and
nature.
they're around
That's the
the same
equivalent of
size
saying blank is blank.
because that's just what my senses tell me. Okay? And
So
until I can go to space and
justify
see
your
it for
senses.
myself, I need to go to space. I mean, space is not a place that any of us can go to. Okay? We would never come up with that on our own. We'd never come up with space, a magical floaty place. You'd never come up with that on your own. That
Yeah,
has to be
which
told to you. Okay?
no, people have done this before.
Yeah, less than 1,000 people. It's been 60 years and you still can't buy a ticket.
Why would anybody want to buy a ticket?
Why would anyone want to buy a ticket?
Well, actually, that was a bad question. Why would anybody want to
Oh my
commoditize it?
God. Because it has one of the highest demands in the history of the world of anything you
That's
can do.
such an unbelievably
You know how much money you could make off of space travel tourism?
almost none because of how expensive it is to go to
Almost none.
space. Do you know how much it costs to send 100 pounds of something into
So
space?
with all this great technology we have and all these great advancements we've made, at what point will it become affordable to go to space?
I don't know, and I don't care because the shape of the
Never.
Earth
So it could be
is
1,000 years. They say, "Oh,
demonstrable
sorry,
apart from going
we've
to
progressed in
space.
all these different technologies, but with this one, nah, it's just still too expensive. We still can't do it. You still can't go. Sorry." At what point would you
Yeah,
be starting to question that?
it's
What point?
generally too expensive to go to the bottom of the ocean too to do anything like tourist wise. And bad things happen when you try, especially when you cut corners.
So you would give them what, 100, 200, 300 years? How many
I
years would you
don't
give
know,
them
and I
to
don't
make it
care because
affordable?
it's not important to what the shape of the Earth is.
Dude.
Do you think that the bottom of the ocean exists? Do you think
Yeah,
that the
tons of people have gone there on submarines.
tons of people have been
Tons
to
of people.
space?
No, only 1,000 or less.
That's tons of people.
No, it's not even close to submarines.
It's if
It's not even
what
close.
is the number that is required?
It would have to be millions upon millions.
That many people have not been to the bottom of the ocean.
They've been pretty damn.
In
They've
fact,
been more
only
than
3 people have been
5 miles
to the
down.
Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench. So therefore, I'm going to claim it doesn't exist.
Well, that's kind of a false
Jacques
equivalent
Picard,
because
James
it's
Cameron,
kind
and
of a
one
false
other guy.
equivalent
That's
though.
it.
It's kind of a false equivalent though
I
because
I couldn't have said it better myself.
it's kind of a false equivalent though because it's somewhere that you can at least broach. Okay, you can't even broach space.
Yeah, people have.
You can't even come close.
Okay, I can't come close to going to the Challenger Deep. It's 11,000
You can
meters
go on a
below the
submarine if you
surface of,
want.
or I think it's 7,000 meters below the. Did you just say
You
I
can
can
go on a
what?
submarine if you want to.
To to the Challenger Deep?
No, but you could go pretty damn deep.
Well, the Challenger Deep doesn't exist because I can't go there. There. Look, we both agree there's no such thing as the bottom of
But
the ocean
you,
because not enough people have been there. So let's just talk
no,
about the
that's not
shape
true.
of the Earth because this
That's
is
not true at
not
all.
interesting.
That's not true at all.
How many people need to be somewhere before we can confidently say that it's real?
Let's just say 500,000.
Why 500,000?
Because I feel like that would put me in the bracket, in the range of being able to pay for it to go down.
Okay, so it's an envy
Okay?
thing. Okay. So
Like
let's
you
talk
can
about the shape of
pay
the
to
Earth because
go
this is
down.
not interesting. Um,
You've never
what are
seen the
your
shape of
other
the earth.
problems with the shape of the Earth?
You've never seen the shape of the earth
You
for
can
yourself.
demonstrate its shape, even though it's too big to see the whole thing all at once. So, what are your problems with the way we demonstrate the shape of the Earth?
Well, NASA gets about $50 million a day
I don't care. Even if
of our
NASA
money.
didn't exist, we could still
Okay?
prove the shape of the Earth. So, I don't care about NASA.
But it's just bizarre that you're saying that you wouldn't care to go to space. That I don't believe you when you say that.
Okay? In a
I don't believe that.
world where I can make wishes, I would wish to go to space. In a world where it's actually expensive and incredibly dangerous, I don't necessarily want to very badly. It's like riding a
Well,
bull.
that's because there haven't been any touristic advancements made. I mean, you would think after 60 years there would be some serious
Yes,
advancements in
and
space tourism.
yes, and
You
last year
still can't find
there were
anything.
some. There were some last year. So we
So
can
when will
table
they
that
so
because
when will
I'm
they
only
advance to
interested
the
in
point
talking
where
about the
you could
shape of the Earth.
I know, but this has to do with it though.
It doesn't.
Okay? It totally does. At
Okay,
least for me it does because I
ready?
need to
Ready?
see it for
Ready?
myself.
Ready? Watch this. We've never been to space. There. You're right. We've never been to space. Now let's go ahead and prove the
No
shape
one
of the
you
Earth
know
anyways.
or I know or us have ever been. No.
That's fine. We can just pretend that that's true and still prove that the Earth isn't flat. For example, shadows cast on mountains when the sun sets are cast from the bottom up, a physical impossibility if the Earth is flat.
Is that you cricket sound? That's you? You can do a cricket sound? That's
No,
impressive,
that's
man.
just
Wow.
CGI.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you're right. I guess that the logic would basically be the same as far as the bottom of the ocean and space goes. I will give it to you on that. The logic is the same. Basically, what I'm saying is that you could actually equate that to space in a way because probably maybe only. I mean, I'm just guessing here, completely guessing how many people have been, you know, five. Let's call it 5,000 feet down, right? A mile down. How many people have been a mile down? I wonder.
Okay, you're. I didn't do this last time, but I muted you. Nobody can hear you. I don't care about the ocean. I don't care about going to space. We're talking about what is the shape of the Earth. All right. So to unmute yourself, you have to tap yourself, and then click the microphone.
Are you looking something up?
I'm just doing some computer work.
But no, I'm gonna give you. I'm definitely gonna give you that point for sure.
Okay,
I've never
that's totally
gone to the
fine.
bottom of the ocean. I don't know anyone who has, and very few people probably have. So, so from that perspective, my logic would say it doesn't exist. Okay,
Okay,
my
so
logic would say it doesn't exist.
Okay, so let's talk about the shape of the Earth.
Do you believe that the 60s and 70s Apollo moon missions happened, whether those images were real or not?
I don't care. I literally just told you a little bit ago. We are going to pretend that we've never been to space, and it's irrelevant.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's the case, I mean,
You
it's
can
pretty much it's over because I truly don't believe that anyone without being told about space would ever come up with would ever like without anyone being told that the earth was a giant sphere that spins around, that people are working in skyscrapers in Australia upside down. I don't think I don't think anyone would ever come up with that on their own. I think that has to be told to us and shown to us from the moment we walk into kindergarten with that ball on the desk.
If nobody
So
would come up with it on their own, then how did the people that came up with it come up with it?
well, they were 90 million miles off about a lot of their predictions. So,
So the
you know,
question was, if nobody could come up with it on their own, how did the people that came up with it, that told other people about it, come up with it?
they made up a lie. They made up just a completely false, just a sci-fi movie, and just
Great.
spread that
What
throughout the
evidence
world
do you have that they lied?
because they were off by 90 million miles on the calculation that they were sure of for 400 years. They were sure of this, okay, and they still won't tell us how they were so off, okay? So what I'm saying basically is that if we grew up on a desert island, you, me, anyone we know, no one would ever have the beliefs that you have. They would have the beliefs much closer to what I have, you know? Just because you see a freaking
You,
shadow
you,
rising up from
you're
the
just
bottom of a
saying that
mountain,
your
you
beliefs are
wouldn't
the
think that
beliefs that
that
you just
you
said
know.
that your beliefs are the beliefs that ignorant people would have.
No, I said people who are in touch with their senses. I didn't say ignorant. I said
I know you
I
didn't
rely
use
on my
those
senses.
words, but that's what those
Yeah.
people are. If
Well,
you grew
that's
up on
just
a
a
desert
judgment on them.
island and didn't have science and technology and just looked around you, what would you believe? This, yeah, if you were ignorant, you wouldn't believe in you'd believe in some stuff, but there'd be a lot of stuff that you have no clue about, like
Basically,
the
whatever
existence of
created this
atoms.
place, I don't think they're trying to trick us. Whatever, whoever or whatever created this place, I don't believe that that's trying to trick us. Like I have a true belief that they're making it very simple for us to figure out where we are, and it's just very simple. It's straightforward. It's an Occam's razor type thing.
Do you
It's
think
like
that
if you,
MRI
you know,
machines do you think that MRI machines are real?
yeah, because I've seen it myself. I've been inside one.
Okay, well, what about okay, so how could somebody living in the desert using only their senses figure out how a magnetic resonance imaging machine works?
But that's man-made. What I'm looking at around me is
So
not
is the
man-made.
technology that we use to go to space, and
But
even
the
if we
Earth
haven't
is
been to
not
space,
man-made,
the
though. The
technology
Earth
we
is not
use to
man-made.
study the Earth.
The Earth is not man-made. Okay, and you're saying that
Who
the Earth
cares if the
literally
Earth
is
isn't magnetic
who
resonance
can
imaging machines study humans, which
because
I
the
guess
Earth
you
is
could say
not trying to
humans are
trick
man-made
you,
in a
man.
very weird way.
Everything you're saying is counterintuitive to your senses. Everything that you believe about where we live.
What's intuitive about the way a magnetic resonance imaging machine works? In
It's a
fact,
man-made thing.
tell us how it works.
It's a man-made thing, so that's not really concerned me. I'm just concerned with where we live naturally.
What's natural about a magnetic resonance imaging machine?
Nothing.
Does it concern you?
It's a machine. No, I'm really only concerned about where we live naturally. And I don't believe where we live naturally is trying to trick us about everything about it. You believe that it's none of it's possibly possible to figure out without someone
See,
telling you about it. So
I don't nothing about the observations we make uh, with regard to the shape of the Earth are tricking our senses. In order to believe what you believe, you'd have to believe that everything's an optical illusion. Is this circle getting smaller?
it depends where you live. It
There
doesn't
you
always
go.
look like
So
that.
so your
It doesn't
senses
always look
trick
like
you.
that.
You have to believe that your
Sometimes,
senses
but
are
not
tricking
about
you
the claims that they
all the
have, though.
time because this isn't what you said it is. And you
But
said,
you
well,
would never
sometimes it
come to
changes and blah, blah, blah.
66,000 miles an hour. You would never come to a 25,000 circumference sphere. You'd never come to
You'd never
spinning at
invent a
1,000
magnetic
miles an hour.
resonance
You'd
imaging
never
machine
come to
just sitting around on a desert
66,000
island
flying through
thinking.
infinite space forever.
Yep,
You'd never come to
you'd
that.
never have come up with a cell phone
You have
either.
more optical illusions than I have.
No, I don't.
For sure you do.
A calculation is not an optical illusion.
Calculation is just math. It's a language that is man-made to describe what we're seeing, that we're trying to describe our reality with.
Yeah, it's very
It's just a
good.
man-made language. So you're talking about man-made stuff again.
Are you not doing that?
No, I'm talking about natural. I'm talking about nature.
And how do you describe nature?
Nature is what your senses tell you is around you.
No, how do you describe it?
I describe it as something that was created by a much higher power than we are even capable of understanding.
How is it that the ideas you have are communicated to me?
Basically, like, I
With
don't believe
man-made
that it's hard to
words?
figure out.
I don't trust you. You use man-made words.
Well, I don't believe that it's hard to figure out where we live. Like, I don't think
Yeah, it's
you need
not.
to be
And
told
despite
anything.
that, you doubt what scientists say
You would
about it.
never come up with 66,600 miles an hour.
Yeah,
You'd
if you
never
were
come up with that.
ignorant. I heard this argument already. If you were ignorant, you wouldn't
No, if
come up with
someone
that.
didn't
We
tell
wouldn't
you
have
that.
invented cell phones. We wouldn't have invented MRIs. We wouldn't have invented hot air balloons. None of that stuff. Twinkies?
That's
Well,
all
maybe
provably
Twinkies.
real.
Shiggity shwet?
That's all provably real in physical reality.
Yeah, so is the shape of the Earth.
Yeah, but you can't prove to me that it's floating in space flying at
To you,
66,000 miles an
no, but it
hour.
is provable.
How?
For example, why does the sunset cast shadows
It
that
doesn't
start
prove
from the
anything about
bottom and work their way to the top of a
66,600 miles
mountain?
an hour flying through infinite space.
The Earth could literally be the Earth could be not moving at all and the sun orbiting the Earth, but the Earth is a globe, and all the stuff I'm saying would still be true. Because at no point have I tried to argue with you about how fast the Earth is moving. So just like
So
the
you
space thing,
pick and choose what to
just
believe
like
from mainstream astronomy?
just like the space thing, you go right ahead and we can both assume that we've never been to space. And we can still prove the Earth isn't round. You go ahead and assume that the Earth isn't moving. You do believe the sun moves. Let's pretend that the Earth doesn't move and only the sun does. We can still prove easily that the Earth is not flat. You have to tap yourself and unmute yourself again.
Do you believe that we're flying through the solar system at 66,000,
It doesn't matter because we're having a conversation about the shape of the Earth.
No, because you can't have one thing without the other, man. Because the
Yes,
same
you
people that said
can.
you can't, because the same people, you've never seen the globe Earth for yourself. You've never seen the ball spinning. You've never seen it.
You've never
been
seen the
there.
flat Earth.
You've never been there. No, my senses are what I'm relying on, man.
You've never seen, and my senses tell me it's a globe.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What tells you it's a globe?
I've asked you several questions
Because
about
a
the shape
shadow
of the
goes
Earth.
up on a mountain, you think it's a globe?
It's physically impossible if it's flat.
Oh, really?
Yes. Offer an explanation.
It's just how shadows rise.
A shadow can't rise if a light source is above something. If a light source is above something, it cannot produce a shadow going up.
That's your best evidence that you have of the globe?
That's just one thing, but the fact that you can't answer it is catastrophic for your position.
It's not at all, because I don't believe that you would ever, if you lived on a desert island and you saw the shadow, you would go up on it. You would, oh, it's a globe. It's a giant sphere, 25,000 miles in
If you lived
circumference.
on a desert island, you'd never think the Earth is flat. There, I can make this
Of
argument.
course you would.
No, you wouldn't. You can't see the flat Earth
You
from
just
there.
walk and walk and walk and walk, and everything's flat.
You walk and you walk and you walk and you look at the horizon and you can clearly see that it's curved because the sun
It's
sets below it.
horizontal. It's horizontal. That's why the word horizontal is in horizon. It's horizontal,
It
dude.
curves away from you, which is easily
You've
detectable.
never seen that.
Yes, I have because I've seen the horizon. A
The
horizon
horizon's
that
completely
end
flat. It's called sea level, for God's sake. It's
a
called
hori-
sea level. It's not called sea curve.
oh, a sharp horizon is not possible if Earth is flat because that horizon would extend forever and the atmosphere would obscure it, like when there's fog. But that's not what happens, except when there's fog. So
Is the sea level?
a sharp horizon with clear skies is another physical impossibility if the Earth is flat.
Is the sea level?
What does that mean?
Why is it called sea level?
What does this mean? What does this prove?
Water is level.
No, it isn't. You don't even think that.
Sure, of course.
Do tides happen?
But they don't. Water doesn't curve.
Do tides happen?
Does water curve?
Do tides happen?
Does water curve?
Yes. Do tides happen?
No, water doesn't curve.
Yes, it does. Even if Earth is
No, it
flat.
doesn't.
Because do tides
It doesn't
happen?
curve.
Do tides happen?
Well, obviously.
Do high tides happen at the same time low tides happen?
In different parts of the world?
So we got high tides in one place and low tides in another place. Is this level?
It's called sea level because water is flat, man.
It's not because high tides and low tides happen at the same time.
So what? So how does 100 quadrillion gallons of water stick to a ball that's spinning at 1,000 miles an hour? Ooh, gravity. That's your good old friend, gravity.
Gravity and I go way back.
Anytime you say that, I consider that a win for my argument. Anytime you just say gravity, that's a win for me.
So, what's your explanation? Or is your explanation going to be that's just its nature?
It's just the nature of up and down, man. If up is up and down is down. Up is up and down is down.
You are as predictable as you are ridiculous. So
But remember, in space, there's no up or down, right? No
why
up or
is
down?
that its nature? Describe its nature.
What's nature? Gravity?
The nature of up and down. Describe why it has that nature. Where does it come from?
Because the way that our Earth was made and our atmosphere was made, if something is lighter than air, it's going to go up. If it's denser than the medium it's surrounded in, or air, it's going to go down.
I got a question for you. Is the air thinner on top of a mountain than it is at sea level?
Is it thinner? Not visibly, but it's harder to breathe.
Is the air on the top of a mountain less dense than the air at the bottom of a mountain?
Less dense.
It is?
I believe that it is because it's harder to breathe, but I wouldn't be able to see that with my senses, though. I believe there's probably less air. That's how I would describe it, as less air.
If there's less air, then it's less dense.
Sure.
Sure. So, how is that possible?
Because that's just how the atmosphere is. I don't think that has anything to do
See,
with
you
up
don't
and up
have
or
an
down and
explanation
down.
for anything.
No, because there's no up or down in space, right?
Correct?
Yeah, but on Earth we have up that way and down is that way.
Down is towards the ground, which is towards the center of Earth, which is the way gravity attracts things. It's just like electrostatics, actually, in that respect.
I just believe that there is an up and there's an up and there's a down here on Earth. That to
Yeah.
me
So
is
why do
totally
you
fine
believe that?
because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've experienced it.
What does it mean to see up?
I can see something that's lighter than the medium that surrounds it going up, and that goes for water underwater too. Do you think we'll ever have entirely new constellations, entirely new an entirely new sky of stars?
Um, you could figure this. You could find this answer out. I, I think so. Yeah, but it might take like hundreds of millions of years.
Do you know how far we travel every year as a solar system?
Is it like three?
What?
It's three.
Three? How far we travel every year? How many miles we travel as a solar system?
Uh,
Never to return to the same spot again?
is it three?
No, it's what, 3 miles?
No, just three.
3 AU?
No, just fucking three.
That doesn't explain anything.
Yeah, but that's its nature, is to go three.
No, I'm gonna tell you what the people that who give you all your information what they believe it is. Mainstream astronomy and science.
You muted
As
yourself.
a source.
I
Oh,
can hear you now.
did you cut me? Oh,
No.
did I? Oh, sorry about that. Okay, cool. Sorry. Oh no, I screwed everything up.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. So how far do we travel?
4.5 billion miles a year.
Okay. So we agree on that. What do you want to talk about next?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
Sorry about that, man. I had an alarm go off, and now it's the whole thing has latency on it.
Oh, okay. Well, so we agree that we go whatever billion miles every year. So what do you want to talk about next?
It's just odd that we could travel so far and we'd still have the same stars. I just can't
The
imagine
stars
that that
also,
would
we
happen.
talked about this last time. The whole galaxy is rotating. So the stars also move.
So they're just following along with us.
Sure, why not? It's in their nature to do that.
I mean, these are some incredible claims. I'll just leave you with this. These are some absolutely incredible claims that none of us would ever come up with on our own. So we have to be really careful who we're listening to because they have the burden of proof. Because I'm not the one making it. I'm just telling you that my senses would never tell me that. I don't believe your senses ever would tell you any of this stuff either. So if you don't want
Yeah,
to go with
they
your
wouldn't, our
senses,
senses
that's
wouldn't
fine.
tell us that a form of electromagnetic radiation called infrared exists and that we can build technology that uses it. Our senses would never have done that. If we were ignorant, we wouldn't know very much about the universe. I agree.
I'm sorry, there's crazy delay on it right now.
Okay.
But we
Yeah,
just have to be careful.
I don't care anymore.